paid time off, City Hall, Costa Mesa? Is it to recharge the batteries, or is it a thank you for the greased wheels? Let's talk about it. Welcome to the Costa Mesa Pettis Perspective. My name is Jeff Pettis, and thank you for watching. And please like and subscribe to the channel. We would appreciate it. So, hey, listen, we're going to harken back to several weeks ago in the city council meeting. But first, I wanted to make the point, and it's kind of a reminder for people, to myself, whatever, that when we're talking about government, whether it be at the federal level, whether it be state or local, governments don't make anything. They don't make widgets. They don't produce any product. They don't make anything. And therefore, they don't earn anything dollar-wise from anything they make. What they do is they collect taxes from you and me to provide services and things to the citizens from the communities from which they live. So the reason I bring that up is it's important that we hold our politicians to a standard which demands transparency, and we as taxpayers have a right to hold them accountable for the dollars they spend that are ours. And we expect an accounting of it, and we expect them to be good stewards of the tax dollars that are brought in. So I think it's a very important thing to remember, because oftentimes we lose sight of that, and what happens is when you're spending other people's money, things get a little crazy. So I want to go back to April 4th city council meeting, and this was an interesting thing that happened. It's been out there a little bit, but I felt like I needed to talk about it some myself. So during that council meeting, this concept or idea or vote was a 6-1 vote for adding a 13th paid holiday to the city workers in Costa Mesa. And normally, okay, paid holidays, fine. The thing that was interesting was this was on the consent calendar. And for those of you that are not junkies to the process, the consent calendar is part of the agenda item, one of the agenda items or categories in city council meetings that are normally for things that are routine and can be voted on in one vote and moved on. And it's usually something that isn't a big deal, or something that's routine, or something that's of little really interest or consequence to the public. And so you don't hear much about them. And what can happen is the council members or even the public can ask that an item be that's listed. They're all listed on the city council agenda. If they say, I'd like to pull this item, whether it be a council person saying that or a citizen saying that by calling it in, I'd like to pull item number 10 on the consent calendar. What that means is that item can then be discussed publicly for everybody to see, and it's actually out there. And if an item is not pulled by a council person or a member of the community, it just gets passed and nobody knows what happened or how it happened, unless you know where to look and where to read. So in this case, the only reason this 13th paid holiday was brought up was because Donald Harper, City Councilman Harper, pulled the item to be discussed. So it's not a little item. It's a big deal, and it was voted, I'm reading here just to make sure, it was a 6-1 vote for a 13th paid holiday. Otherwise, wouldn't have been publicly known had Harper not pulled it on the consent calendar. And the estimated annual cost for that 13th paid holiday to the city, the taxpayers, our money, is $603,000. Because the city's annual payroll is roughly $112 million. So if you do, and 40% or roughly 40% of that $112 million are added benefits. And if you stretch out over 40 years at a 5% interest rate, that $603,000 becomes $73 million over a 40-year period. So not a small item and not a small deal, a big thing that should be publicly out there. So this is not transparent to start with. This is something that we this should have been on the regular new business, or it should have been a regular item on the agenda to start. So why was it on the consent calendar? Why was it buried in there? And why would it have gone unnoticed had it not been for Don Harper pulling it and putting it out there for everybody to see? I think the answer, in fact, I'm certain that the answer is simple. It's because the unions and the builders, going back to 2020 when I ran, into the 2022 election, donated a considerable amount of money to all of the campaigns, actually over the 2 cycles. And the unions and the builders are the ones that, even as said by City Manager Farrell Harrison, that the unions had asked for this 13th holiday for their workers, which are included in the city workers, a year ago. They had asked for this. So what we are doing here by giving them this is we are paying them back for the money that they provided to get our council people and mayor elected. And I want to remind everybody, I've done a video on this before, that we already know that between 2020 and the 2022 elections, Stevens, 17,500, Gameros, 39,997, Harlan, 16,140, Foley, 61,941, Chavez, 2,750, Marr, 10,600, and Reynolds, 5,385. For between the 2 cycles, totals out to $154,393. And this isn't my math. This is itemized math based on publicly viewable records of campaign donations provided to those candidates by a mixture of unions and builders. And so this is what I'm talking about when I talk about transparency and being good stewards of our money. Just throwing out a 13th paid holiday is a payment back for payment given to be elected. And not to say that I'm opposed to giving people extra time off, or that I even think it's necessary. I mean, look, the average private sector company, it's 8 paid holidays. The federal government that I work for, the federal government, who everybody knows is very generous with their time off, is 11 paid holidays. City of Costa Mesa, 13 paid holidays. And Gameros mentioned in the city council meeting that, hey, I'm not worried about the cost, whatever it costs. This extra day off will give the workers a chance to recharge, and it'll pay for itself. I'm paraphrasing, because they'll be recharged and be more productive. I can tell you, and I'm not disparaging my own employer, which is the Veterans Health Administration, VA Long Beach, federal government, that I do. In fact, over the last 2 weeks, I've probably done 10 interviews. I do a lot of interviewing. I do a lot of hiring. I currently supervise 30 plus professionals, and the people, there are a lot of people that we don't select, because we interview a lot of people that are applying for the position because they want to work less. They heard that there's a lot of paid time off. So people that are interviewing with me, that are interviewing for the reason of having extra paid days off, are people that want to work less. Now, that's not a all-encompassing statement, but I can tell you that extra paid holidays doesn't equal more productivity. That's just not the case. Now, there are plenty of people that I work with, thousands of people in the federal government and at the city government, that appreciate extra time off, that are excellent employees. But it is just it's a misstatement. It's not accurate to make the case that this extra day is going to pay for itself because people are going to recharge their batteries. This was simply a repayment for donations made to candidates individually and mayor, council, to get elected. That's what this is, plain and simple. Let's be honest about it. And the only reason it came out is because Don Harper pulled it on the hidden consent calendar for discussion. This would have been something that is should have been out for the public to see. There should have been debate. There should have been discussion. There should have been transparency. And this gives me cause. This is one of many things in this particular council and this regime that is, they're not transparent. They are not honest with us. And it's something that we need to change in 2024. And the most important thing is to be kind to yourself, be good to each other. Together we can get it done. Bye for now.